Welcome to Off the Cut, a podcast where we talk about building, making,
and answering all of your questions.
I'm Eric from Spenceley Design Co.
And I'm Zach from Zach Builds. If you have a question that you would like us to answer on air, you can send it to offthecutpodcast@gmail.com.
You can find both of us on YouTube, Instagram, and unfortunately, because we have to keep up with kids, you can find us on TikTok too.
All right, now let's get into the show.
Welcome to Off the Cut, episode 91. I don't know what I was doing there, but up in Toronto and here in Ohio, today is known as Tuesday, November 21st. Why did I?
First?
SE doesn't seem like the right abbreviation after that for some reason. 21st.
21st, yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
It was one of those brain lapses.
You got it.
And on this day in history, the Green Suiters podcast, the worst woodworking podcast in our space, available on Apple and Spotify, bought all the turkeys in North America to ruin everyone's Thanksgiving in an attempt to actually have something interesting to talk about. Did you know that there's somebody who actually celebrates Thanksgiving twice a year?
I mean, I guess there's probably a number of Canadians and people going across the border who do that. Yeah. I don't know. Where are you going with this joke, though?
Well, one of them is Jonathan Katz-Moses, who happens to own KM Tools.
I see. I see where you're going with this.
That was a segue to the ad.
KM Tools, the woodworking company by woodworkers for woodworkers.
Yeah. Which means that unlike all the horse shit that you see, Jason Bent try to sell you on YouTube, he actually tests these tools out and they're good.
Yeah, well, I think all the tools on his store are either designed and made by him, or there's stuff that he actually has in his shop.
You're absolutely right. And what's really cool is a portion of all their profits go to the Katz-Moses Woodworkers with Disabilities Fund, which gets tools and resources in the hands of those that need it most. And like we've talked about, it's something that I've directly been impacted with. Yep. And I mean, I don't know how much Jonathan talks about this, but if you want to know the scale of what KM Tools helps people with, they gave my recipient an entire Avid CNC, which is ridiculous.
When I heard that, I was like, okay, maybe I can get Sophie to break my legs, and then I can get a free CNC from Jonathan.
Just go to Vegas, don't pay up on a couple bets and have somebody come break your shins.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. All right.
But in all seriousness, huge thanks to Jonathan and KM Tools for sponsoring the show. And a reminder that
Black Friday, baby.
The Black Friday sale. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It goes from Monday the 20th to Monday the 27th, right?
Yeah, so when this podcast comes out, unless you're watching the live stream right now, shout out to everybody on the live stream.
Yeah.
This will come out on a Saturday, most likely. So you'll have a couple days in order to go to kmtools.com and take advantage of their awesome Black Friday savings. Like some of this stuff's like, I don't know, it's kind of between like 10 and 30%. I might be speaking out of turn here. I don't want to make promises that Jonathan can't back up, but there's some good deals.
Oh yeah. And there's some things that are up to 75% off.
Okay. Phew. I said 30 and I was like, I might be overcommitting, but okay. If it's up to 75, I feel good about that.
Yeah, and I got some good stuff on there, so check it out. Let's see. New patrons this week.
Oh, baby.
We've got Keanu Reeves. No, I'm kidding. Okay. I was with Sedge, Ronnie, and Jason last weekend over at the Hardwood Festival show thing.
Oh, cool.
We were talking about the podcast. And they're like, yeah, we're just going to start saying that like celebrities have become our patrons and stuff like that. So I beat them to it as long as this episode comes out first.
Did I ever tell you about my concept for, are you familiar with the website Cameo?
Oh, yeah. Are you going to do one?
Oh, no, definitely not.
Nobody likes you that much.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody's willing to pay $5 for me to say things. But I was thinking it would be really funny to have every YouTube video I do signed off by like a different D-list celebrity that I paid $50 to get a shout out from.
Like Gary Busey's son.
Exactly. It'd be Gary Busey's son, and he'd be like, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the Zach Bills video. See you next week, everybody.
Can you imagine that? Like, if like you got Gary Busey's son, and then he's like you reach out to him just as like a complete joke, and he goes like, Zach, dude, I watch your videos all the time, man. And then like you become best friends with Gary Busey's son.
Yeah. I mean,
what's his son's name? His son's an actor, right?
Is he? I mean, Gary Busey Jr.
Jake Busey.
Jake Busey. Okay. So what we could do though is we could actually pretend to have celebrities become our patrons, and then we could have little videos from them that we inserted into the live stream. We're like, hey, Zach and Eric, great job on the podcast. So excited to become a patron.
So you mean like one of these like AI generated things where it like goes and searches out every audio clip the actor's ever said and then hacks off like syllables?
No. We'll go to cameo.com and we will pay them $50 to pretend to be our new patrons for this week.
Oh. Like what Keith and Jason did when they did stuff for Neil Patrick Harris, like that?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. That's a funny story, but I won't get into that one.
That's a story for a different day.
I think that's more of a private story.
Yeah, but we could
get they shared.
We could get Gary Busey's son to endorse Off the Cut and say that he just became a patron. Doesn't matter if he actually becomes a patron or not.
How much do you think a D-list celebrity would charge to endorse the shitty podcast like this?
I am glad you asked. Let's look up Gary. What was his name?
Jake Busey.
Okay, Jake Busey charges you. It says maybe $95 Canadian for a personalized
on a Cameo?
video. On Cameo.
Oh man, that might be worth the expense.
I see, right? We could do one celebrity every month, and we could probably afford it.
All right, listeners. In all seriousness, if we can get 100 patrons, we will spend the money on getting D-list celebrities to do cameos for the podcast. You heard it here first. And Jake Busey, Gary Busey's son, will be the first one.
They have a category for YouTubers, so we could get other YouTubers. And that might be kind of like a weird Inception-y thing. Okay.
I gotta say this, and I want to hear your response as well.
Okay.
Cameo as a platform. I already, full transparency, because we've talked about this, I feel weird having a Patreon.
Yeah, okay.
I would feel even weirder having a Cameo. And no knock on anybody being on Cameo that does it. I'm just saying, me personally, it would make me feel, as the kids say, icky having a Cameo.
You get the ick.
Right.
Really? Yeah, I mean, I guess like it's like personalized shout outs. So I don't know. It's like you buy your friend like, Gary Busey's son.
Yeah, Jake Busey.
Yeah, singing happy birthday or something like that. It's kind of a laugh. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I would ever do it. I agree with you. Like, I feel a little bit weird about having a Patreon too. And honestly, I've been kind of playing around with the idea of getting rid of my personal Patreon because I don't think I'm delivering enough value to people to justify its existence.
Yeah.
So I mean, whatever. There's a lot of weird ways to make money in this world, and if people are willing to pay you for personalized videos, so be it.
I would want to know what's the percentage of people doing Cameo videos to get like somebody funny, right? To like say something silly versus people are like, I doubt Taylor Swift is on Cameo, but if you're like,
no,
I effing love Taylor Swift, and then like you get a cameo from her, like people are just like in awe. It's gotta be mostly jokes, right?
I think it would be mostly jokes, and like for like diehard fans, like the people who are obsessed with X celebrity.
Oh yeah.
You get maybe that's like a tear-jerking experience for them or something like that.
Patrick Swayze.
Yeah, you're obsessed with Patrick Swayze,
Mhm.
and you've watched all his movies, and then he personally wishes you a happy birthday. Let's see if he's on here.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, maybe it's my mindset. I would much rather spend that $95 on like taking the lady out to a nice meal and like enjoying a night rather than a 10-second clip from a D-list celebrity.
But for the right person, that might be more valuable than a nice dinner out. Not for you or me, but for the right person.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I had this hilarious concept once to shoot an entire movie with cameo people. So I would get them to like pretend to answer the phone or something like that. Like it'd be like a very piecemeal script that would be like, oh, hold on real quick. I have to call Selena Gomez and ask her to wish me a happy birthday. And then it would cut to footage. And then that way I could have this incredible cast for my hypothetical movie where I have like every D-list celebrity ever. And the budget for the movie would be like $1,000.
Well, yeah. I mean, so let's how long is the movie going to be? Let's say it's an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. So that's 75 minutes, which means how long is a cameo, you think?
I think they're like 45 seconds to minutes. So
okay, let's say it's a minute for easy math.
Yeah.
And it's $100 a piece.
It depends who you're going for. Some people are cheaper, some more expensive, but yeah.
Like that's not bad. $7,500. Under
Exactly.
10 grand for a fully loaded celebrity-tized movie?
Right? Like that is less than you would pay any one of those individual celebrities to appear in a movie. So I think it's pretty good value.
You ready for this segue?
Hit me.
Speaking of value and something that's less than $95 for a cameo is the Off the Cut Patreon. Where we have our returning top tier members, Gary Furness, Chris from Black Forest Creation, Josh at Freedom Workshop, Brooke Appler, Grizzly Bear Woodworks, Dadu, Luke Schmidt, which I hung out with last weekend, Corey Duvall, Jason Price at Priceless Pro Design, Scott Eastman, Eastie's Woodshop, and the Power Cocker, formerly known as Wes. Those are just some of the folks that are, supporting us, keeping the lights on, because doing a podcast ain't free. But more importantly, they get access to the after show. They get access to our giveaway, which every month we're going to give away a $50 gift card to KM Tools.
And the first one.
Yeah. Go tell them. Tell them.
Okay. Sorry, don't let me step on your toes.
No, I get more soup when you interrupt me.
Oh, you're gonna do soup? Okay, so for the very first inaugural giveaway, wait, what's inaugural mean? Is that like annual?
Yeah, it's inaugural season, like the first season the Blue Jackets were in town.
Okay, so the first giveaway that we're gonna do is a KM Tools router plane, the new one, the Pro one. That's like, I don't know, $250 or something like that. So you're going to want to get signed up and get in on that. Because for what's the lowest tier on Patreon? $3?
Yeah.
For a $3 entrance fee, you're basically, your expected value on that giveaway is going to be more than your entrance fee.
Oh, yeah. You pay for the whole year and it's still cheaper. Yeah. If you got that. Plus, the real value is the after show and all the other awesome perks we got. And we should say tonight is our first thing.
BYOC.
BYOC. Bring your own camera. So we're doing a live video call, with our top tier patrons. So they're going to jump on the call just like this and we can talk about goodness gracious. Sorry, I have too much soup in my belly. We're going to talk about whatever they want. Just shoot the shit for a little bit. We'll be on there for at least an hour. I mean, really, for me, it depends when Miranda comes home. That'll be my stop. But she's over at a friend's house, so it could be several hours tonight. But
yeah, nice.
And we might open it up to other tiers. This is the first one, so we're playing around with it, see what comes out of it.
Yeah, I suspect tonight's going to be a little bit awkward because we're going to have you know, sometimes it's awkward, just the two of us. We're talking over each other because there's a weird time delay.
Right.
So once you get 5, 6, 7 people all talking at the same time, might be a little bit awkward, but I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Hang out with the patrons and have a good time.
Yeah. So anybody on the live stream, check Patreon. I sent out the link to that Skype call earlier today. So jump in on that. And we should also, just a quick housekeeping. It looked like Patreon, for whatever reason, we downgraded our service thing because we got rid of the merch and stuff. And it looks like, as like a precautionary thing to everyone, I think they kind of basically kicked people off their billing cycle just to make sure that they didn't get charged for like something they didn't want or whatever. So if you do still want to continue being a patron, just make sure that you're still signed up over there. That way you're not just like, what the heck? What happened to the after show? Why isn't it showing up in my apps anymore?
Yeah.
Just be aware. And if you want to cancel, that's fine too. No hard feelings.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Oh man. Okay.
Admin's out of the way.
Let's get into the podcast.
What the hell you want to talk about?
One more admin thing. We have to acknowledge that our producer, Deric, is not here today. He's gone. He's traveling. He's out with the kids. They're doing like a crazy cross-country road trip, right?
Yeah.
Was it a road trip or are they flying? I can't remember.
I think he said they were flying. He said he was going to fly over Ohio. He was going to wave.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, yeah, he did say he was flying. For some reason, I had in my head that he was driving. But yeah, he's on vacation this week, so it's just the two of us. So live stream crew, you're going to have to be less visual references, unfortunately.
Yes. We appreciate what Deric does. We need to give him more credit. More credit. Yeah,
everybody go check out his YouTube channel. Check him out on Instagram, Facebook, all the things. Blow him up a little bit. He's doing Lord's work out here.
Hell yeah. Well, you got anything specific you want to talk about, or you want me to dive into things I got written down?
You got stuff written down? The only thing I was going to say was, have you seen any good Black Friday deals for anybody outside of the KM Tools? Have you seen anything good from any other brands?
Ooh, to be completely honest with you, haven't looked. I'm in full like saving for wedding, honeymoon, house. So like, when we get together on Thanksgiving this year, I'm pitching to our family the idea of drawing names for gifts. Because that's the thing is like, you get your aunt and uncle, and then your other aunt and uncle, and your grandma, and like, these people don't want. Let's be honest, they don't want your shitty gifts.
Well, you don't know these people well enough to get them a good gift,
right?
You know, like when you get out to like aunts and uncles and stuff like that, it's like, what's my uncle like? It's like, Jesus, I don't know. Like I talk to the guy once a year at Christmas.
Right. And like, I don't know. I would rather not just give somebody like a Starbucks or an Amazon gift card, right?
Yeah. Yes.
One of the things my one aunt and uncle proposed, I think during COVID, is because they're like, oh, it was difficult to get gifts. And I love it. They're like, how about instead of giving each other gifts, as like every couple donates whatever they would feel appropriate to give a gift to a charity of their choice. I was like, love it.
Yep.
So my one aunt and uncle, we don't get them gifts. We just make a donation in their name. We're like, great.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Love it. Yeah, we do with Sophie's family, we do like a draw names thing where you just buy for like one other person.
Love it.
Which is great. And then with my family, what we usually do is we do it goes by a lot of different names, but like the white elephant or something like that.
Yeah.
Where you buy a gift and you wrap it and you put it in the center and then you draw numbers and you take turns picking a gift out of the pile and you open it up and you can steal it. It's fun.
That's fun. Yeah. And it takes the stress out of it because like you're like, oh, I got to bring a dish to this thing. I got to bring like wine or beer or like, something else. And you're like, oh my gosh, now I have to get a gift for everybody. But if you do the white elephant, it's just like, I'm just going to go get one funny gift. It could be a great gift. And it takes all the stress out. Yeah,
I like it.
But no, I haven't found any Black Friday deals. I haven't looked, to be honest with you. How about yourself?
Not really. I got some like non-woodworking stuff, but nothing building related or anything like that.
Nothing direct. What was the one that you were most excited about, though?
Well, so I've been I do the Amazon affiliate links in all my videos, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you do too, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
I banked up. They send you a gift card every month, so I banked up the last couple of months, and I bought the Dyson vacuum cleaner, which Sophie is very excited about.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I have a Dyson.
Mhm.
And for everybody at home, they're like, dude, you're banana spending like $400 on a vacuum. I know.
Yes,
I know.
I know.
Hear me out. This vacuum does not ever lose suction.
Yeah.
It is insanity. So which one did you get? Did you get the cordless one or the?
Yeah, I got the kind of like top end one.
Yeah.
So we have one now that Sophie got as like a Christmas gift from work like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And we love it. It's great. So I was like, okay, let's see what they've done in terms of innovation over the last 5-6 years.
The battery life on the new ones is probably like 45 minutes or something bananas, right?
Yeah. It's got like a laser beam that it shoots out the front so you can see dirt in front of you. It's got like the little crevice tools like integrated into it, so it's always there at all times. If you like pop the long tube off, it's got some interesting stuff. I was like, okay, let's do it. It's a little splurge.
Yeah, it's a nice one though. I think I've had mine since 2016, and the only thing I've noticed with it now is that if I run it on the low speed, no problem. It still lasts like 15-20 minutes. And you guys remember this is also one from like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was like the lower model, so it didn't have a super long battery life. But if I turn it to like the max like boost suction, the battery will die in like 30 seconds. But I'm sure it's just because the battery's been charged and recharged so many times. I just need to get a new battery.
I saw somebody modify one once so that their Dyson can run on DeWalt batteries.
Ooh.
I think they had like a custom 3D printed grip for it, and they could just connect a DeWalt battery right in there, and it was good to go. So there's an option for you if you want.
But I like just being able to jam it on the wall real quick.
That's true. That's true. You would lose the ability to just jam it on the wall. Unless you 3D printed a new wall mount.
You're getting too fancy for me. I would take a Dyson sponsorship all day.
They asked me to do one actually like 2 years ago or something like that. But it wasn't just like a 30 to 90 second integration. They wanted me to like make a whole video about Dyson products, and I was like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Almost kind of like a documentary kind of thing.
Yeah, they were like, why don't you do like a house tour and show off like 3 or 4 different Dyson products? I was like, it's not really what my channel's about.
No. Did it pay well?
I mean, at that time, I think they offered me like $1,000 and then like $2,500 worth of Dyson stuff. So it was back when my channel was much smaller too.
Yeah,
so it was like 2-3 years ago. So
yeah,
it was not bad, but it was just I was like, it doesn't fit.
Well, you know who I texted you today.
Yeah,
but I'll ask this in the form of a question. You know who asked me to partner with them today?
It's everybody's favorite power tool brand.
Oh my gosh. So Rigid reached out to me today and asked if I wanted to partner with them. And to quickly highlight what had happened and my disdain for Rigid, I'll make this short and sweet. It was about 2 years ago. They reached out and they were like, hey, we want to partner with you. And I was like, yeah, great. At that time, I had a fairly small account. I had very little tools. And I was like, yeah, that would be great. Okay, let's call it what it is. Rigid makes nice tools. Yeah. Some of their stuff is garbage.
Yeah, well, it's the lower end. It sits between Ryobi and Milwaukee.
Right.
In the TTI stack.
Yeah. Very capable tools. So I was like, yeah, no problem. You're going to hook me up with tools. Be happy to do it. So long story short, the agreement was, we can get you any tool you want, unlimited tools, no problem. You have to post once or twice a month or something. I forget the exact thing. There was a small amount of money exchanged, but at that time I was more like, okay, the value for me here is I'm going to get a completely outfitted shop and tens of thousands of dollars of tools, right? I don't have that money right now. So long story short, they sent like a drill out and then they're like, okay, well, what are you going to do with that? I was like, what do you mean? What am I going to do with it? This is like just kind of a passive partnership where I just kind of like show myself using it. They're like, no, we want you to like sell this stuff. And I was like, no. So I was like, well, you guys said you're going to send me this. And at this time it had transitioned to a new person. They're like, well, we don't have any record of that. So they basically just told me to F off and like wouldn't send me any more tools, never paid me. And like, oh dude, it pissed me off so much. So it's so funny that they reached out and want to partner again.
Same person?
No, it's a different person. So what does that tell you? They clean house like crazy with this position.
And they also have like no internal documentation, no handoff from the old guy to the new guy.
No.
Wow, interesting.
So genuinely,
I think you got to do it. It's funny.
So the thing is, I basically responded with them and I was like, I would love to collaborate. Please send me your proposal to eric@spencelydesignco.com. The guy goes, great, I'll send it out shortly. I have to know what the proposal is.
Yeah. Well, my question is this serious enough for you that you're going to pass it off to your agent? Or is this just something that you're going to kind of feel out because it's kind of fun?
Right now we're in the fun camp, no doubt.
Okay.
Like I'm being silly right now. I think the likelihood of me taking this is like 0.0001%. It would have to be a dump load of cash, and it would have to be like TikTok only or something like that.
I see. Yeah, I'm curious what they'll come back with in terms of ask from you, like what the campaign looks like. I don't see many of those brands out there anymore doing these like long-term partnerships where they want you to post throughout the year or something like that.
No, that's why, honestly, out of curiosity's sake, that's why I'm pursuing information is what I'm pursuing right now.
Yeah.
Gotta have fun with it.
What do they make any good tools? Like, is there anything where they're like class leading, where you're like, oh, the rigid one is the best?
Table saws that the motors fall out of? I've had that happen before.
They make like okay shop vacs, I guess.
I suppose.
I guess they got some. Maybe they had some cordless. Like I think about Ryobi, and I'm like Ryobi, like they're not the best tools, but like some of their stuff is pretty good. Cordless nailers are pretty good. People like them, right? Yeah. So I'm thinking. I'm struggling to think of a good rigid tool, but I think you have to do it, and then just kind of. It would be like a subtle in-joke for you and your audience who knows that whole story. And everybody else will just think it's like random product placement.
Right. You're not wrong. Or like, could I do something where like, I'm just like, oh, and this is how you like, this is the best cut you'll ever get. And it would be a jigsaw that's like, the blade like completely deflected and bent and like stuff like that. I do this.
It's a minimal tear out and it's just all like shredded along the edge.
Oh, it would be awful. It'd be terrible. But honestly, yeah, if it's something really low effort or it's just like post TikToks or whatever, like I don't care. Sure.
Why aren't more power tool companies interested in YouTube videos? I never get anything from power tool companies. It was only for like Instagram and TikTok that I ever got power tool stuff.
I know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you still have your contact. You still talk to your contact at DeWalt. That's like a very passive partnership.
Yeah. But I don't even really utilize that. They actually approached me recently. They were like, "Hey, we want to do." It's kind of hard to explain this campaign, and I'm not sure how much of it I should really talk about. But basically, they want me to make like a medium length video that's not going to live on my YouTube channel. It's going to live on like another website. Like think of it's probably going to live on a major retailer's website. But it's going to be like a 3 to 5 minute long video. And then they want me to make like a single Instagram post about the project. And I was like, this is crazy because you're going to get, they want me to build something too. They're like, yeah, we're thinking like maybe build like a dining table, or you do like this, or you do that. And I was like, this is going to be like a 4 or 5 day build. And you're asking me to only like produce one piece of content from it. So I was like, it's going to have,
that's fine, right?
It's going to be like an expense. Like I'm going to have to go in with like a high number because it's a big project, and then they're not going to get any content out the other side from it. It's really weird. So I'm struggling to understand exactly what they're thinking, but yeah, we'll see if that goes anywhere.
I want to talk more about this, but I think this is something that we've never had happen. Dude, I have to go to the bathroom so bad right now. We're going to have to cut this out of the podcast. Give me just a second. I'll be back.
Okay.
All right, guys. I made it back. We almost had an emergency.
You know what? I might have to do the same thing. I'm going to try and make it to the end of the show, but so far in the last hour or so, I've drinking 3 of these water bottles full of water. So
it happens. It was the soup got me. But anyway, okay. So company reached out to you. They were like, we want you to do basically like a dining room, like this huge multi-day build just to make like a 3-minute video out of.
To make one 3 to 5 minute video that won't live on any of my pages. Yeah. And then a 1 minute cut down of that will exist on my Instagram. And so the thing I said to them was, and this, I don't know, kind of comes up fairly often for me, is like these companies want you to do something like a project to show off their tools and to show off their, their product or whatever. Yeah. But that's a lot of work to do a whole project. You know how long it takes. And it's like, so you're going to all the effort of filming this whole multi-day thing. Like I'm going to walk out the other side with hours and hours of footage if I properly document it all. And to just cut that all into one 1 minute video doesn't really seem like I could, for just a little bit more effort, I could get like 5 Instagram posts out of it, or a whole YouTube video or something like that. So go ahead. No, you go.
Okay, I'll go. So like in their eyes, they're thinking, oh, Zach's gonna make this one piece of content. He's just building something, whatever. But it's like in your eyes, you're like, yo, this is gonna take me a week to build this, plus edit it. Like you want to get paid for multiple days of work.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can't, like, companies will be like, oh, like, let's throw it a number. Like they'll be like, oh, one Instagram video, say $500 or something like that. Right. And you're like, well, I can't justify working on a project for multiple days for $500.
For $500, right?
But if you can talk a company into doing 5-6 videos, it's like okay, around 3,000 or something like that. It's like okay, now it starts to make a little bit more sense,
right? But then you got to think of like the materials that go into the project. Like, there's a lot that goes into it.
That too, yeah. And your time on the other side too, editing and all that stuff. So yeah,
I think sometimes there's just a disconnect with like, especially it's usually ad agencies that are reaching out to you. There's a disconnect with the amount of work that they expect that goes into to build something, right?
Yes, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I don't think they get it a lot of the time.
Which everybody listening, this is like the exact reason why when Zach and I do sponsorships, we always prefer for it to be something that has nothing to do with woodworking.
Yeah.
Like life insurance or a website or like
exactly
a green shake, because they don't care what we create. We do our project, and then our agent's like, hey, I got an ad spot. Do you have a video to put it in? You go, yep, sure. And you move on with your life.
Exactly. It's much harder to do content around something. And that's, I said in the past, like, I don't like doing power tool company sponsorships that much because they want you to use only their tools. And I don't know, it gets very confining really quick. Right. Whereas the stuff that's not related, it's like, you can make a video about whatever, which is, I like to do random obscure stuff like, modifying old video game consoles. So there's not many brands that'll fit perfectly with that. But, when you just throw life insurance or website ad on there, it works pretty well.
Right. It's low effort. I mean, and this was like all this weekend when I was talking to Jason and Ronnie up at the Hartville event, with the whole crux of the conversation that we had was why are we doing things for our business that don't make us money?
Like what?
Like for me, like why am I bothering on TikTok?
Gotcha.
It's a waste of my time.
Yes. Yeah, like how much have you made from TikTok in the last year?
So in the last year,
Yeah.
maybe $600.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If you write me a check for $600, I'm going to take it. But how much time have I put into that $600? I would say well over 600 hours.
Yeah.
So you're talking $1 an hour? Stop.
I've really not been doing much Instagram lately.
And that's where I'm getting at. Is like, why bother on Instagram?
Why bother on this? And it's my YouTube has been doing so much better since I gave up on Instagram.
Right.
Because it allowed me to focus all of my energy on this one thing. And now, just in terms of what I'm making from the AdSense that plays on my videos, or like the default not baked in, the YouTube ads.
Yeah.
That's eclipsed what I was making from Instagram in the past.
Oh yeah.
And then also now I'm getting bigger YouTube sponsorships too. Right. So being able to dial in on one thing has actually been really beneficial for my business.
Right. And I think you always hear the advice of like, oh, spread out, be wide, like get involved in every single channel. But I think the reality is you're getting distracted.
Yes. Yeah. I think you should focus, if you're trying to start some sort of social media business, focus on doing one thing well.
Agreed.
First. And then once you've nailed that and you're making decent income from it, if you want to then like experiment in other fields and branch out into other platforms, by all means go for it. But master one before you start trying to get in the other ones. Because I spread myself too thin early on, trying to do all the platforms. I'm still not good at making short form content, despite the fact that I've been doing it for like 3 years. Because I was also trying to learn 10 other things at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. I think that's fantastic advice. And I think that's actually changed. Like I would always tell people, oh, put it on TikTok, put it on Instagram, put it on YouTube Shorts. Now, I would just focus on one thing. And that's why I was talking to Keith Johnson a little bit about this topic. And so I was checking out his Facebook because I know Facebook is a big, player for a lot of people. And dude, he's crushing Facebook.
Really?
I mean, getting millions of views on like everything he posts.
Wow, crazy.
So I just asked him, I go, dude, how much time do you spend on Facebook? And Keith, I hope you probably aren't listening, but if you are, I hope you don't mind me spilling your secret. He said 0. I go, what do you mean? He goes, I have a company run my Facebook page for me. They edit all of my videos. They post everything. They do A/B testing, all that. They just do it for me. Wow. And so I was like, dude, you got to hook me up. So he hooked me up with a company that does that, and I had an interview with them, and they're going to take over my Facebook. Like, I am happy to pay somebody to do that, so I don't have to worry about it.
Can you hook me up with them too?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think you can monetize in Canada though, right?
I think I can.
Oh,
I can't. Yeah. There's no reels bonus, but you can monetize videos.
Oh yeah. For sure. Okay, I'll hook you up.
Sweet.
Let me I'm working through like some admin stuff with them, but once we get on board, I'll definitely hook you up with her.
Because this is the thing, like I get emails all the time from people like, hey, I could be your like short form editor person. Yeah. And I've gone down that road with a few different people before, and immediately I get the sense that they're using one of these AI services where you put a video into like one of these things, they have AI analyze it, and then it chops a bunch of little clips out of your long form video.
Yeah.
That is not what I want, because it does such a bad job. Nobody's going to watch those videos. I want like a real editor to sit there. And I know that that's what they're doing, because the prices they were giving me were insane.
Like $1 video.
Exactly. They were like $2 a video, $3 a video, and stuff like that. I was like, there's no way that a human could possibly sit there and like edit a video and then charge you $3 for it.
No. Yeah.
So they're just Yeah.
I mean, they're crushing Keith's
Yeah.
Facebook. So
Yeah.
and it's no effort. All they do is they say that they download your YouTube videos and then they like re-edit them, chop them up to just music so that they're, you know, accepted to basically every country. And then they pay money, run targeted ads to like get your content out to other people to build up an audience base. And like they got a huge strategy about what they're doing. So
Okay. I'm very interested. I'd be interested to talk to, because I've also know Brad Rodriguez from Fix This Build That is killing it on Facebook as well. And I wanted to talk to him because some of the metrics that I see on Facebook are insane. Like I see some of his videos, he'll have millions of views, but then he'll have like 3 comments and like 35 likes, which doesn't make any sense to me. So there's something going on Facebook that I just don't understand at all. So I kind of want to talk to somebody who's a little bit more versed in that platform.
I think that would be a really interesting guest to have him on and just discuss the mysteries of Facebook.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll reach out to him and see what's up. See if we can get him to be a guest one
day. For sure. Yeah, I'd love that. I mean, we talked to him before. I know he has a video editor that helps him out. It's Chris, right? I think his name's Chris.
Is he? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I've actually met his editor. So
I've not met his editor too. I think he was, if I recall the conversation, I think that's what he said the guy's name was. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, sorry to ruin the perception of everybody listening, but at a certain level, when you get to, you know, when you have to scale, although Brad's face is on everything, I mean, his wife helps out. He's got an editor. There are people that are helping him. Like, you can't operate at that large of a scale and just have it be you. Like, you have an editor.
Yeah. I have an editor. Yeah, exactly. I'd be screwed without Bryson.
Right.
Even
it allows you to focus.
It allows me to focus. It's like, it's this weight off your shoulders. It's being able to hand off the part of the process that you don't really enjoy doing or doesn't bring any magic to you. Like I talked to Bryson and he's like, oh, I love editing. Like I love just sitting there with my headphones and like trying to craft the best thing that I can with all the raw materials there. He loves it. He digs it. He does a great job. I don't enjoy that part of the process much. And so not only does it take my time and I'm not giving it my all because I'm not enthused by it, but it also takes away time where I could be creating concepts for new videos and I could be filming and I can do the things that only I can do as, you know, the kind of the quote unquote host of the channel or whatever you want to say, right?
It's like kind of getting that first step away from you owning your job versus like running a business, right? So like you're slowly getting away from, if Zach isn't here, nothing gets done.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if Zach goes on vacation, nothing gets done. Well, no, not necessarily, because Zach has hired an editor so he can go on vacation and work still gets done.
Yeah. So what Zach did was 2 weeks prior to the vacation, he just filmed a whole bunch of stuff. And then before he boarded the plane, he handed off a hard drive to his editor so that he could be working on it while he was relaxing on the beach, sipping on Mai Tai.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's something that I'm trying to get to. Like,
it's hard to give up control. And I think, I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit of a control freak. No, yeah. Like I like things done kind of like my way.
Yes.
And I'm always kind of a little bit worried that if I hand over control, somebody's not going to do it up to my standards.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I was really worried about that. I told you I'm working on revamping my website. I'm moving over to Shopify and stuff. And I'm thinking like, oh, I just want to design it myself because it's going to look how I want it. And then I was like, why would I waste all of my time?
Yeah.
It's going to take me so much longer to figure out a new platform. I will pay somebody. They've already shown me like drafts of the website. And I'm like,
examples. Yeah.
Holy smokes. This looks great.
Yeah.
Like,
see, that's the magic.
I gave up the control.
You gave up the control and you handed it off to somebody and they did a better job than you could have done. That is when the magic really happens. And sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Like I've had quite a few people approach me about doing thumbnails for my videos. Because I was kind of interested. I was like, if I could find a really good thumbnail guy, I would be willing to pay for that. So I've tried out a couple of guys where I've been like, okay, here's a video, here's a little bit of money. Give me like your 3 best thumbnails for this. And they've come back, and I've done it 2 or 3 times now. Every time I do it, they give me crap thumbnails. I'm like, no,
It's like real generic.
Just generic, like ugly looking, like busy, hard to understand what's going on. And I'm like, I have a style. You can see that it's like, kind of like emulate my style a little bit. So like the first time Bryson edited one of my videos, I was like, oh, it's my style, but it's better.
Yeah.
So that's the magic. So, you'll know it for anybody out there who's listening and running any sort of business. You'll know it when you see it. When somebody does part of the business that you've been doing, but better, that's when you're like, okay, let this person just give them more control, give them more things to do.
Right. I mean, I kind of had a similar experience with the first time I hired an accountant. I went to the accountant. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, they know more about this than I do. Like they're helping me out. It's great. And then I kind of started to learn more. And then I realized, oh my gosh, this is not the person that I want. So like they weren't an employee, but I hired somebody from the business. Yeah, you hired a freelancer. Yeah. And then I realized that person was no longer a fit. So then I went and procured someone better. Like you're going to have growing pains where like, you thought the person that you hired is good, but then they turned out to not be a good fit. And that's okay.
Yeah. And another good example of this, our agent.
Yeah.
We, after working with him for a little bit, I was like, oh yeah, I was bad at negotiating brand deals. And he's good.
Yeah. Because you were just
better than I am.
Okay, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But Mark will be like, hell no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Because he's not afraid of getting no, because he'll just find us another deal.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Well, so this, and we've talked about this before. We often get questions from people on Instagram where they ask a very important but broad question. And it's just like, I cannot respond to that in a meaningful way in a text message.
Yeah.
So I got one of those the other day. And I wanted to bring it on the show. And I told him we were going to talk about it on the show.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So
we should make this a recurring segment.
Yeah. This is from Daniel Soroka. He says, shooting my first video with a family member who's a videographer. Wanting to shoot YouTube, then use YouTube content to shrink down into Reels for other social media outlets. A strategy that we've talked about.
Yes. I've already noticed 2 problems with his plan, but let's keep going. Let's keep going.
He said, so here's my overall picture. Start selling furniture using social media as an outlet for more advertising / growing a brand. Do a fun, educating style of video / sometimes partnering with other Columbus content creators. Get into advertising for companies. So I know that was a lot, but I wanted to give you an idea where I'm coming from. I'm a person who's a very process driven and modifying processes to do them better as I learn from mistakes. 1, do you have a process you follow when it comes to planning, scripts, production, etc.? And 2, how do you know it's the right time to post content? Okay.
So should we answer his questions first, and then we'll talk about the problems I noticed?
Yes. So I think I want to almost answer that entire thing backwards.
Okay. Yes. I like that.
How do you know when it's the right time to post content?
I think these days, the right time to post content is anytime.
Agreed.
With the algorithms on all these platforms being the way that they are, good quality content will get pushed out to people. Agreed. Or pulled to viewers. So if you post a video at midnight and there's nobody on and nobody sees it, well, okay, this is about
no one in your time zone.
Yeah, nobody. Okay, one person sees it and they watch it the whole way through. That will send a very strong message to whatever platform it is, YouTube, Instagram, that's a good video. So when somebody logs on at 9 a.m., they're going to be shown that video based on that one person watching it at midnight. Right. And as long as that next person watches it, it's going to send it out to more people. And it just kind of cascades like that.
Yeah.
So the whole concept of, you got to post at 5 p.m. when everybody's active on whatever thing, it doesn't really matter anymore. It's all about creating good quality content.
Yeah. I think that was information, and I couldn't agree with you more. I think the information of, it's got to be 5 p.m. was like 2018 era, where like the Instagram algorithm wasn't like really like built up, and like let's be honest, there were tricks.
Yes.
You post at the same time and like you'd win.
Exactly. And I think that's why they moved away from that, because people were gaming that system in order to get a lot of exposure on kind of, so content. And that's a bad experience for users too, by the way. If nobody's posting all day long, and so every time you go check your Instagram feed, there's nothing new for them to see. And then all of a sudden, 5 o'clock, everybody posts all at the same time. And there's no way for people to see the best content at 5 because it's crowded out by all this mediocre content. It's like a bad user experience too.
Right. I mean, I fully have found zero correlation between the time and the day that I post content and how well it does.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if you're posting good content, it's going to live a long life. It's going to be, if it's a good Instagram video, you're going to be still getting likes and comments a week after you initially posted it. And for a YouTube video, it's even longer. You might, months after you posted it, you might be still getting new views and new likes and comments or whatever the hell people go for on YouTube. I don't know.
So Daniel, again, even as someone like Zach and myself that have been doing this for a while, I would say we've been in the game for a little while. I don't think that the time of day or whatever that you post matters. And especially for someone like yourself who's just starting, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Just put the content out. The right time is when the content's ready.
Yes.
Put it out.
When it's good, when it's ready and good.
Okay. Second part. When it's good. Yeah.
Or first part.
Do you have a process you follow when it comes to planning, scripts, production, etc.? So, you go ahead and answer this one, Zach.
I have a little bit of a process, especially for making YouTube videos.
Right.
I'll usually start by coming up with a high-level concept. Like I want to build a modernized Nintendo 64. We'll use that as an example.
Right. Sure.
Then I'll usually sit down, and the first thing I do is write a catchy intro. I try and aim for like 0 to 30 seconds, where I'm essentially making a promise to the viewer.
Okay.
Like, and I'm saying, if you watch this video, you are going to see X, Y, Z, and here's why that's exciting, essentially, right? Okay. So for the N64 one, it'd be like, what's up, everybody? Today, I am going to build a truly modernized Nintendo 64. It's going to have this. It's going to have that. It's going to utilize some crazy cutting-edge technology.
Sure.
You're kind of like, you're selling why somebody should watch the rest of this video.
Fair.
So I'll write that all out. Then I will write out an outline of how I think the rest of the video is going to go, which is just kind of bullet points. It's like, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to disassemble this thing. The second thing I'm going to do is measure it. So then I'll go and I'll film that. And if I feel like talking to the camera, that's where a lot of the improvisation happens. That's why I do just bullet points. I'll just kind of make my way down this list and make sure I'm capturing enough footage to support all the things I want to say for each individual point. And that's why I do the outline. Because I say, like, for instance, when I'm disassembling the thing, I want to talk about my cordless screwdriver, because I think that's a good. So I'll make sure when I'm filming the disassembly, I'm getting a lot of shots of the cordless screwdriver, so I can throw away to that when I'm talking about it. And then I'll do the project, and I will then, go the whole way through it, and then I'll sit on it for a few days, and I'm like, okay, now how do I want to end this video?
Yeah.
And then I'll sit down and I'll write a little script or a little outline for the end of the video. That's basically my system.
That makes sense. I mean, it totally makes sense to me. I would make the argument that is a little bit more of an advanced tactic.
Yeah.
Like, is that how you started, or is that like a process you've gotten into now?
No, but I will say I wish I started doing it sooner.
Yeah.
But you're right. This when I first started, I basically just, I think I did. I think I wrote intros or at least uh, um, like outlines for intros. Even when I first started, because I just didn't really know where to start otherwise.
Fair.
And I do a little intro, and then I would just go to the shop and I'd start building something, and I would just kind of freestyle it, like talk to the camera and when I thought it was appropriate, and then you kind of get to decide and edit what you want to keep after that.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So mine, I think this is interesting. Mine's fairly different.
Okay.
So mine, I
curious.
first start out with a high level concept. So I'm like, okay, here's one I'm working on. I'm going to do a building a router table from the ground up. It's going to be plans. You'll build a little cabinet. It's got the table stand, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's the high level idea. And then I'm going to go into how am I going to get people to watch that video?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if I just say how to build a DIY router table, no one's watching the video.
Nobody's going to watch it.
No.
But if you say, I'm trying to think, you'll never believe what I did to this router or something like that.
Yeah. So it'll be something like
mastering my router. I don't know.
Or like
shit like that.
Or I might name it.
There's explicit.
Yeah. Huh. I think we got it earlier.
Okay.
When I said something about Jason Bent with shitty tools.
Oh yeah.
So my thought is something along, and this is a very elementary thought. Like I just it's in gestation, if you will. It was like the router table build you actually want to watch or something like that.
Yeah. There you go. That's good.
So then when people, because that's going to be something you're going to search a lot. There's going to be a lot of search traffic, or like building router table. This is the only video and you need to watch, or something like that. Then I'll have so that's kind of like my hook of like, but why me is always kind of like what I've started going at now. And then to be honest with you, I just shoot the hell out of it and then I would rather have too much footage and delete stuff and like make it quick and snappy and like stuff like that. And then after it's all shot, then I'm like, okay, I think there are going to be some parts where I want to be like, now here's where I cut this and this, but then there are going to be some parts where I just talk in general and don't really necessarily talk about a specific step or something like that. Yeah. So it's kind of different. You seem to be a little more structured than I do, but it's kind of the same general idea.
And that might just be like a personal thing for me. Like I find I tend to spin out a little bit if I don't have a structure. And I also feel like going in with like when I was in university and I was writing essays, I would always start with an outline because I always found making an outline was really easy for me. I'd be like, okay, here's my main argument. Here's like my 3 supporting points and then 3 supporting subpoints for each one. And I was like, for some reason, that seems very easy and manageable for me. Sure. And then from there, you're basically just grafting on like filler words, essentially.
Yeah.
Right?
You're not wrong.
So I kind of think about videos the same way. It's like, okay, I'm creating the skeleton and the outline, and then I'm just grafting on like supporting content, like visual cues to support that initial outline. Yeah. And it helps me focus because I'm like, okay, here's like an interesting thing. Here's an interesting thing. Here's an interesting thing. Rather than trying to sort through a mountain of footage afterwards.
Yeah.
I find it helps because a lot of the time I would be like, oh, I really want to talk about this particular part. And then I get there and I'd be like, oh, but I don't have the footage. I only have like 2-3 second clips of me doing this one step. Yeah, exactly. Right. So it really helped save me from doing that. I don't know. It's for my mind, it helps me stay organized and stay on task a lot better.
That makes sense. Yeah. And I think that's something like Miranda used to help me a lot with videos. Like she'd be in the videos and help me like film them every once in a while. And I remember her always going, how do you know you wanted to shoot that? And I would just go, I don't know. Maybe I just kind of already have a vision for the video. Like, okay, well, I had that clip. I had that clip. Well, this kind of should be next. This would be a good.
Yeah.
I almost have like a visual timeline in my head. And maybe that's like an intangible skill that you just kind of grasp over time.
Well, honestly, I haven't done this lately, but what I used to do, especially when writing out scripts, I did a lot of this for shorter videos that were in the kind of like 8 to 12 minute range. I would just write out a full script for the video, and I would also include ideas for shots.
Oh.
So I would know, like, okay, when I say this particular part, I want to cut away to a shot of like the legs on the table.
Oh.
And so
You
I
almost
would
have, like,
make
a
sure
checklist.
I had a checklist, yeah, and I would go and I would make sure that I had a shot of the table legs to throw away for that specific spot. I do less of that now, especially with the longer form videos, because it just gets like it gets kind of crazy.
40 pages of notes.
Yeah, when you're working on like a 20 to 25 minute video, it gets, I don't know, it's a lot. So,
but I mean, with all that being said, I think you can still be successful without putting that much of planning into it. Like,
for sure.
But we're trying to answer the question, trying to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. If the planning scares you and it makes you think like, oh, I could never do that, then don't plan. But if you're the type of person like me where planning makes things easier, then by all means, plan away.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you could just go shoot a whole something and then go, okay, crack your fingers, crack your neck, sit back in the chair and you go, here's what I got. What can I do with this? That's an okay strategy too.
I mean, honestly, that's how I built the early days of my channel. So
same.
And I think there's probably a ton of very successful creators on the platform who still do it that way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to make sure we can get to some of these other parts of his question too. So one of the other ones is he says he wants to get into advertising for companies. The one thing that you and I wholeheartedly agree on is the absolute last thing you should be worrying about is sponsorships and brand partnerships.
Yeah.
They're going to derail you from everything you're working on.
Especially early on. When you don't have leverage going into some of those negotiations, you know, you're a creator, you have 10,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel, and some company comes to you and they're like, hey, we want to sponsor a video. We're willing to give you like $1,000. You're like, oh my God, $1,000. Like, this is fantastic. But they are going to want to control every aspect of that video. They are going to ask the world of you.
Yeah.
And I think long-term, it's going to slow down your growth and keep you from being in a position where you can say to that brand, hey, give me $10,000. And also here are my terms that we'll be working under. Yeah. I'm not going to do this. You have no creative control. Like, you just get like your 30-second spot. So I'm very wary of working with brands early on because they can derail the creative process.
Don't take on a brand. And this might be kind of confusing. Don't take on a brand partnership until you don't care if you get it.
Yeah.
So if you're like, I can't eat unless I get this $200 brand partnership, don't take it.
Yeah.
But if somebody's like comes to you and they're like, oh, I get an email this morning, so-and-so wants to partner with you. And you're like, well, I'll give them the F off rate. And if they take it, then great. If not, like, I don't care. I mean, brand partnerships are a lot more work than you think. I mean, just today, I had to do one for this giveaway thing. And what was I doing? We were going back and forth between the brand. Like, what do you want me to post for this giveaway? Oh, I don't care. Then I posted it and they're like, well, we actually want you to change it. I'm like, I'm not changing it. Like, there's mountains of headaches, and then chasing them down because they didn't pay an invoice.
Yeah.
Dealing with that for a brand right now where it's almost been 3 months and they still haven't paid my invoice. And like,
God.
Our accounting software has changed. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
But so avoid partnering with brands from the beginning. Don't even worry about it.
And also, I would say, again, your mission is to make good content. So never let any of those brand partnerships prevent you from making good content.
Yes. Yes.
Because they will try. I swear to God, they will try to prevent you from making good content at every turn.
Yeah. You know, I don't want to rush through this. Do you want to save the rest of this, of the questions and stuff, for next episode?
Yeah, sure. I want to circle back to one thing that he said early on in the question. He said that he had a friend who was a professional family member who was a professional videographer who was going to help them out.
Right. That's going to be a nightmare.
That's going to be a nightmare. Do not do that. Figure out a way to do it on your own.
Because what's going to happen is they're going to be like, oh, let's do this shot. Let's do this. 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 And it's going to drive you effing insane. You're going to hate the entire process. And you're like, I just want to build this thing.
Yeah. And also, trying to align the schedules of two people is a huge... You don't think it's going to be a big thing until you're both working full-time jobs and you're trying to make this side hustle thing happen on the weekends, but they got to go to their cousin's wedding that weekend.
Right.
But you really want to get the table built because this is the only day you have this week to work on it, but they have other commitments. And then the next weekend, you got a wedding you have to go to. Honestly, I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the podcast before, but I originally started thinking about doing a YouTube channel with two of my friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we were gonna same thing, like woodworking, like just a couple of guys hanging out, like trying to build some stuff, and we were like, oh yeah, we'll film our chemistry, it'll be great. We talked about doing that for a year, maybe. Just
could never find a day.
Could never find a day when the three of our schedules aligned.
Right.
And then finally, we did do it one day. And we got basically nothing done.
Right.
Because we were like trying to figure it out. And I was like, I love these guys. Like they were fantastic to hang out with. But I was like, if I want to actually make like a run at this and like make it a real thing, I got to do it on my own. Because I know that I can count, like I can manage my own schedule. I can make it work on my end. And, like different people have various levels of commitment. Like, what if the channel is not growing as fast as your family member, as the professional videographer wants? And they get
the rate.
Or the rate, yeah.
Like you're paying them.
Yeah. Or
you're paying them.
Or maybe it's some sort of partnership, but it's not, you and I know we had to eat shit for 2-3 years before we started making any money from this business. So if the other half of your partnership is not like willing to put that time in and like make that same commitment, then you're going to run into a problem a year down the road when you haven't made any money, but you still keep working every weekend. Yeah, you're
absolutely right. Well, there's more. We'll get into this next week.
Yeah,
but
okay, sounds good.
We're heading to something exciting. No after show tonight because we're having our first bring your own camera segment. So
BYOC.
If you are a top tier patron, you have the link to that video chat on your Patreon page. And we're heading over there right now to hang out with all of our patrons and chat about all kinds of stuff.
We sure are.
So everybody else, thank you for joining us. If you're in the US, I hope, by the time this comes out, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. If you're listening live right now, we hope you have a great Thanksgiving. And we're thankful for all of our patrons.
To all the Canadians listening, happy belated Canadian Thanksgiving. It's only 2 months late. You're welcome.
And remember, only you can prevent the Green Suitors podcast. Available on Apple and Spotify. See you, everybody.
See you.